Welcome everyone to the spring season Newton Youth Soccer Coaches Meeting. I am Dave Belfort. I'm co-president of NYS with Kostas Pavlidis, who you will hear from in a few minutes. I've been a coach with NYS for 15 years and on the board for roughly 5. And before we dive into logistics for the season, I wanted to mention that if you have questions along the way, feel free to stick it in the chat. We'll also reserve a few minutes
The
at the
right
end for
side with the
questions.
rifle. It's gonna.
Remember to mute your microphone. And I want to begin sort of my very brief introductory remarks by thanking everybody for doing what they do, sincerely. Um, our club, with the girls' club combined, is the largest town-based sports program in Massachusetts. And this year we have roughly 2,500 kids across 3 seasons, roughly 90 teams just with Newton Youth Soccer, the boys, including IM and travel. And we host 800 regular season games annually. And we've got about 250 volunteers, including all of you. So it's a pretty awesome organization and a vital part of our community. On behalf of the board and the families of Newton, thank you guys for stepping up. In terms of our board, and Costas will speak a little bit about our efforts to get folks to volunteer, but I just want to take a moment to shout out to the leadership team and volunteer board members who work really hard behind the scenes to keep the gears running. And I don't know who's on the line, but if you are here, give us a wave. Our treasurer is Laura Woodward, and she'll be rolling off the board. So we thank her for keeping us and our money safe. Our secretary, Coach Sean Darcy, our Bays rep and AGC, Matt Cusick. And I hope your son's doing well, Matt. I know he had surgery today. Our high school program VP, Sid Chaudhry, who's done an amazing job growing the high school program. Thanks, Sid. Our outreach director, Jyoti Peters, who's been instrumental in growing our scholarship program for kids that might not otherwise be able to play because of finances. We've got a really large, thriving scholarship program. Our social media director, Van Sisson, who played NYS, went to North, and is now off to get his PhD in molecular and cellular biology. Van, you're awesome. Thank you. Carl Berntorp, who's been managing our equipment for several years. He's also stepping off the board. Thank you, Carl. And last but certainly not least, in terms of our volunteer group, a special thank you to our outgoing president and our new social chair, Cliff Slater. Cliff just finished 5 years as the club president. He's currently racked up, I think, 12 years on the board. And as president, he steered the club through tough years, through COVID, and he leaves the role with the club growing in numbers and solid financial footing. And we all owe a debt of gratitude to Cliff. So thank you, Cliff, for your awesome work.
Where's the batter?
You want to mute your phone, Luba? Thank you. In terms of our professional staff, we couldn't deliver the level of quality without our two pros who live and breathe the game. And you'll hear probably mostly from Ed tonight, but Zach Anderson is our technical director who does such an amazing job on the field. We see him everywhere. Our players and coaches really appreciate him. And so does the board. And finally, the glue. Ed Jenkinson. Ed handles all aspects of operating the club, from scheduling, intramural, coaching development. If you ever have a question, if you need a drill, if you need anything, Ed is there. He's quick to respond. He's on it. And we thank him very much. And we're so lucky to have both of these gentlemen helping us run the club. So thank you all for being here and for everything you do for the kids in the city. We look forward to a fantastic season. And with that, I'll hand it over to Kostas, who will make a few remarks as well.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I'll be really short. Reiterate all of those thank yous. I won't go through them all again, but the one I will repeat is for all of you guys, the coaches. We don't have a program without you out on the fields in the cold and the rain, and hopefully with spring coming, a lot more sun. So we appreciate everything you guys do. I did want us to just call out two specific things. One, Dave and I are pretty new to the role of co-presidents at NYS. We've both coached with the program and held a bunch of different roles, including as board members for years, but we're pretty new to this role. We're really excited about it. You know, with new role comes new opportunity to do potentially new things. And so this is going to be true at all times, but especially now, you know, as you're out on the fields, as you're engaging with your kids and your families, if folks have ideas for things Newton Soccer should be doing differently or doing less of or more of, please feel free to reach out to either one of us by email, text, or on the phone. We'd be happy to talk about that with you. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is just a call for board members. Dave mentioned we have a couple of folks who've been with the board for a while that are rolling off. It is a really fun thing to do. It's a reasonable amount of work, but it's not a ton of work, and it is very, very satisfying and rewarding work. We get together about once a month to meet. Everyone on the board has a different role, a different part of the program to keep running, and it just gives you another opportunity to volunteer and kind of and see how things get done on the inside. So if folks have an interest and want to know more about what it means to be a board member, again, feel free to reach out to us at any point. If you have a role that you think you can specifically play on the board and you want to talk about that, reach out about that as well. We'd be happy to talk about it. And with that, I will turn you over to Coach Ed.
Okay, thanks, guys. Welcome back, everyone, for another season. Thank you for being here. I'm hopeful this will be a pretty quick in and out meeting. But if you have any questions along the way, throw them in the chat there, and we'll try and answer them live. We'll stick around to the end. You can talk to us if you want to. So there's the agenda. I'm going to hand over to Cliff pretty much straight away to talk about one of our social events that we do, and then you'll see kind of what we're going to touch on. And any questions along the way, please stop me, Cliff.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for the kind words, Dave and Costas. You guys have been an important part of leadership of the club during my tenure, and the club couldn't be in better hands as you guide us into the future. And part of our future here, upcoming, now I get to do a lot of fun things like try and throw some good parties and build community, add to the community that we're all building here at NYS. And so on May 9th, excuse me, Saturday, we will be having another Newton night at the Revs. It's always a blast. It's one of the more fun evenings of the year when we get the kids to wear their orange jerseys and sit together to the extent that we can and tailgate together. We'll have access to the parking lot, I think starting at 4:30 or 5. Those emails will be forthcoming. But please reach out to your teams, and let the families know. They will be communicated with directly. But the more you can sort of bring the kids together and those that can attend and come as a group and do some tailgating and enjoy the game, the more fun it is for all, and definitely encourage them to wear their uniforms. This season or this spring, the program is that I think each player gets one free ticket, and then the parents, chime in and buy tickets for themselves, siblings, or whomever. So I hope you guys embrace it and talk about it and attend, and more importantly, enjoy. It's just such a great community event. And if anybody has any questions about what's going on, you can reach out to myself, cslater@rate.com. Nick Scaretto has been our rep at the Revs for a long time, and he also has all the answers to any questions you might have. So we're looking forward to that and other social events later in the season and the end of next season and the end of the year. But hope to see you at Newton Night at the Revs. Let's go.
Go Revs. Okay, so a lot of this we talked about in the fall, so I'm not going to labor this and talk too in depth, but I wanted just to put these up again, just as a reminder of what we're kind of thinking about going into the season. Not a lot changes, and there are some differences in competitive calendar for some of the age group and some of the teams, but always try and come back to these four philosophies, these four tenets, and we'll be in good shape. And nothing really changes from fall to spring. We're all about keeping this an enjoyable experience for the players, especially considering the spring season rolls into tryouts and then signups for the fall. And a real key marker for us is do players return year after year? And I think if you stick to these kind of four pillars, there are those philosophies, tenets, and pillars there, then we'll be in good shape. So keep in mind that we're a development club. Keep the playing time as fair and even as possible. Be positive and happy on the sideline, and remember who we're representing at all times, whether you're at a practice field or a game or you're in a different town. So keep these in mind. Equipment. So Carl is for the last season. Carl is still running the equipment. And for the spring season, we're going to do just one pickup event, which is going to be the Saturday of the first game in the morning. So hopefully before you head out, wherever you're going, home or away, you can swing by and grab whatever you need. He'll give you a couple of game balls. If you need a new lanyard or sleeve for your credential, they'll be there. And if you ordered any equipment, if you already ordered some equipment, he'll have that hopefully ready for you. And he'll have a garage full of stuff. So if you're like, oh, I could do with it, a couple more pennies, I'm sure he'll be able to hook you up. If you're not sure if you ordered anything or you forgot or you have any questions, he's available at that email address. You can copy me as well, and I can poke him in the right direction. But one event, if you can't make that event, I'm sure he'll be happy to leave stuff on his porch. He's right there in Turner Terrace. But come by and get what you need for the spring season. If you need some coaching apparel, you either don't have some, or you're still wearing the old school fleece with the old logo like Cliff is there, and you need something updated, let's get you outfitted and looking good. Although I do like that fleece. Make a note of that. We're going to order some fleeces for next year. So base schedule's out, came out the other day, and hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to check it and look at it. I've got a very squeaky chair, so I'm sorry about that. We do play over both weekends of vacation week, and there is a game scheduled for Memorial Day weekend. So have a look, try and get these, I know Bays don't have a sync button to TeamSnap, but you should eventually be able to download and then upload them to TeamSnap so you can start to get your availability. But, have a look at your schedule. If there's anything that looks weird or odd, or you're missing a field for a home game, let me know. Bays always do a couple of events each season. Seatbelt Saturday, which I encourage every week to be a seatbelt game day. If you can do it, sit down and let the kids play. But specifically, they're looking for the weekend of May 9th, 10th to do that event. And then referee appreciation, they always roll a week where you really want to show some love to our young referees and be on even better behavior than normal. There is a function to provide feedback for your games. If you have a sportsmanship concern for something that happened from the opposition side, or you need to provide some feedback about a referee, home or away, there is a function on the Bays website, and I've linked it there. So just a reminder that, not everything's going to go perfectly, but if you see something you feel like you want to feedback, use that function on the Bays website. If you're stuck with where to find it, I can help. And I wanted just to put the calendar of kind of events there. It feels like we're starting kind of late, but it should all kind of mirror the last spring, first game, week and a half away. And then the other.
And I'm just going to reiterate the biggest thing at this point, I think, with the schedule is getting your games in TeamSnap and really calling out those 2 vacation weekends and also Memorial Day weekend to your parents and asking them to kind of get you availability so you know whether you need to potentially reschedule games or not. Hopefully not.
Yeah, and I'll come back to the one rule edition, but reschedules are really difficult, not only for fields, well, actually, for fields is the main reason because we just don't have the flexibility sometimes to put extra games in the middle of the week or Saturdays. We're tight, right? So trying to play the schedule as close as you can is key. You know, if you have an assistant and they can take a game as you're away, or you know, you're at 8 players and getting a couple of guest players would get you enough to go out and do it. Try your best to play the schedule, but getting it ahead of that availability is key. The Memorial Day game is the only one where it's officially the only one where you can just say, we're not playing it, we're going to reschedule it to your opponent. The vacation week ones is they've got to agree, right? So they could just say, no, we don't want to reschedule this game. So trying to field a team is kind of important. Obviously, people go away and teams might be tight, but if you can do it, you know, do it. And then I just put the kind of timelines there for makeups just to give some context because you know this season sees some playoffs that make the schedule even more sort of rigid. There was an update to the rules. I don't know whether people knew this already, but goalkeepers now, Bays have said that they're going to really with their referees. So our referees are being trained on this, and you'll see this hopefully in away games. The 8 second rule when goalkeepers have the ball in their hands, the rule is they have 8 seconds to get rid of it, essentially. I don't know how many times in a youth game they play the clock like that, but you know, you could see that it is a new rule and a point of emphasis for Bays and the referees, and they'll know it just when the ball's in the goalkeeper's hands.
Ed, could you
I would,
explain the guest player how it works, just for folks who need a reminder?
Yeah, for those who do need a reminder, so you can have as long as they play for New Soccer, you can for games where you need players to make up your numbers, you can bring a player up from either a team in a lower section or division or the same section in your grade. So if you're a Division 2 sixth grade team, you can in section A you could bring anyone from D to B down, even a fifth grader if you needed to. So anyone you know kind of below your level you can bring up to help you, and all you do is confirm with me who you're going to bring up, and I would provide you with the guest players roster, and then you'd have to present that to the referees. But it came in, I think last spring, right? Was it last spring? And it's a real good way to, if you're in a pickle, don't cancel your game. See if you can borrow a player, bring him up. And I tried with the schedules this year because you know the way it works is you kind of share a field, and when they're away, you're at home. And I'm hoping the way I did it offset it so the team directly below you, quote unquote, shouldn't be playing at the same time as you, in theory, and you should be able to kind of borrow and bring someone up. And also a great way for kids to get a little pat on the back if they've done well for their team and go and play for a team at a higher level. So use it. Don't abuse it, and I won't let you abuse it, but use it if you need it. As long as you get the okay from me and the rosters you need, it's a great function. I think everyone's credentialed at this point. I think we should be good with this, but I just wanted to remind people how kind of important this is that you have it as a physical copy. You know, have the printout. If you have a lanyard or need a lanyard or a plastic sleeve to wear so it's nice and clean, you can have that. But just having the paper copy is enough. You're supposed to wear it while you're on the sideline, so having that lanyard and sleeve helps. And I have plenty to give you if you need one. But no credential. If you don't have a credential, if you show up and you've been at every game and the last game of the season, you don't have it, the referees can and often do tell you that you can't be on the sideline, and it's kind of a no argument scenario. So please have your credentials. If you need me to resend it, I can. But I just wanted to remind folks that this is a really important element of game day, and you should have it at practice too. But at game day, you know, everyone knows that you're cleared and background checked and have done the trainings, and this is kind of your evidence, and it has to be a physical copy. Okay, Costas, you want to you want to say this one? And Save me from.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it otherwise.
Yeah, no, happy to.
Oh,
You muted me, Ed. Um, there's not a lot to say that's not on the slide already. The one thing I will say is the season does feel like it's starting late this year, and so things like MTalk and President's Cup all feel like they're very late in June. And the challenge I've seen with that before is that families have vacations planned and they're out of town, and now suddenly you're trying to play in a really important game and you don't have all the players that you want to have. So if you have a team that is likely to be MTalk eligible this year, if you're playing in D1 or D2 in one of these grades, or if you're in fifth grade D1 and likely to be playing for President's Cup, or you think your team's going to enter the President's Cup, just give your team a heads up now that there's a decent possibility you could be playing games in mid to late June, just so people can plan around it.
And just so that people know who are new to MTalk and sixth grade, it's a statewide tournament where each league geographically commits teams. They play tournaments internally, and then they send their teams to a wonderful tournament where the teams get to play against the other leagues in Massachusetts. So we're in the Bays League, and we play the North, the West, the South. Awesome games.
President's Cup is additional and optional. So before you commit to it, I would float it with your team, and it's an additional game as long as you survive. And you schedule that the same way you'd schedule a reschedule. You just say, you ask me, basically fill in the form and say, can I get a field on X day at X time? And I would, if you're the home team, and I would schedule it. NYS covers the cost. You don't pay that $75. If you want to enter, tell us and we'll pay for it. And it's a good little fun cup competition. You play different teams that you may not have played before. So if you want to do that, do that. And I think registration for that is not until later in April. So, I'll send some more stuff out about that.
Do you know the specific dates for President's Cup, Ed?
The dates, I know it starts in, I don't know the specific, but it kind of ends the same time as the base playoffs end.
Yeah,
So I
so
think it's like
middle of June, probably.
May, like end of April, May, and ends in June. So you wouldn't go beyond, you wouldn't go as far as the MTalk weekend.
Registration opens April 21st for that and closes April 28th.
It's good. It's good fun. Just wanted to put this slide up again. I think at this point, I'm hoping that everyone is aware of the kind of stricter rules around, referee respect.
You want me to take this one, Ed?
Policies around it, and I'm going to hand over to Dave for this one because he's got his arms all around it.
I'm so excited about this one, Ed. I've spoken to you all on this one before, and I asked Ed in preparation for this slide how many violations Newton had last season, and I'm pleased to report we only had one coach that was subjected to the referee abuse prevention, which, as you recall, is a replacement for the zero tolerance policy. Apparently, this has even less tolerance than zero. But the catch here is that if you do get dinged, and it's a kid, there are triple sanctions for minor referees, and they call them multipliers. And the sanctions are pretty significant. 2 game is a minimum, goes up to 10 game, and that's just for non-physical abuse stuff, taunting and even just speaking aggressively to the ref. And then there are sort of physical violations. And then there are repeat offender penalties. So if there's a second time offense, you receive double the punishment. So we haven't had a huge problem with this. The rule stays. Don't speak to the ref. Have your players speak politely to the ref if there's something that needs to be said, unless there's an injury, a sub. And we did well last season, and I expect we'll do well again this season.
Me too. The other thing to consider is also referees can report coaches for misconduct and doesn't necessarily rise to the level of a rap violation. But, you know, even if you're not directly talking to referees, any sort of hostility or throwing arms up in the air and being outwardly upset about referees' decisions or calls can be intimidating to referees. So, you know, we have a responsibility as adults to, especially when they're young, to look after our referees because there's a shortage generally, and if we can get referees to enjoy it and be good from a young age, maybe that will translate into the high school programs and beyond, which is where the real problems are. But yeah, I think just and when you do get an adult referee, that doesn't mean the shackles can come off and you can unleash a little bit. It's the same. So we did great in the fall, and generally, you know, our coaches are pretty good, and we're expecting the same this spring. Contacts, just a reminder, lots of this is just reminders, but that's our group of age group coordinators who kind of do a lot of the behind the scenes organizing and helping me when I need it. And then we've updated the contacts for the presidents, and I'm on there, my email is on there, and Zach as well. And everyone will see Zach a lot this spring, and you'll see me on the fields. But if you need anything, don't hesitate. That's what we're here for. And I'm excited for the season to get going. It's been a long winter. It feels like longer than normal. Took my kids to the playground today. It was warm, and I was excited, and it got me thinking, the spring's coming. So that was it. That's all we kind of had to report on and sort of feedback and talk about. But if you have any questions, please ask them now in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you want to and ask live, and we'll answer them. Otherwise, Dave, Foster's anything to add? Zach?
Nothing. Thank you very much, Ed.
Oh, I think Cliff figured out that the President's Cup finals are going to be June 20th. So if you make it that far, that's how late you would be playing.
Right. So I think what happens is you're notified of your opponent during the season, and you have a certain, and it says you must play the game by a certain date.
Yep.
Then if you win, you move on. You're notified of your next opponent and when you have to play that game by. And then if you make it all the way, it looks like the finals is scheduled for June 20th. I also did just want to remind everybody, I mean, here I am, the social guy now, and I want to remind everybody that this year is the 50th anniversary of Newton Youth Soccer. So you're going to see some logos that'll have a radical new look with a banner that says celebrating 50 years or something like that. And some dates on them. All new material will be printed with that special limited edition. We should make money on this apparel stuff, but we don't. But anyway, so you can get some merchant, some updated merch, and ask for the new logo. But we'll be trying to do some other fun things during the year. But anyway, pretty cool that we've been around since 1976, and we actually started as a co-ed club. And after about a year, the ladies got sick of us and split and formed their own club. Ever since then, we've been copying what they do because they're run very well as well. But anyway, so their 50th is next year, but we got 1 year up on them. So happy 50th to everyone.
Thanks,
All right.
Cliff.
30 minutes. We did it.
Perfect. Nice job. Good night, everyone.